Hey, what's up, internet? Cyte-09 is out, and I figured I would do a vid on him because, he kind of needs explanation, and I figured out a really nice build that is the absolute sauce, and I'm delighted to share it with you. It's very fun, and I would say overall Cyte is a pretty good frame, too. He's definitely got some stuff that other frames cannot do, and they're interesting things, and he is very effective. So, without further ado, let's just get into explaining his kit so everyone's on the same page. First off, his passive is if you kill an enemy in their weak spot, you get 1% weak spot critical chance added to your, see there in the top right, 1% extra weak spot critical chance added to you for the rest of the entire mission, which is pretty nice. This goes up to a cap of 300%, so if you get 300 weak spot kills, you'll get an extra 300% CC for weak spots. Again, it doesn't apply if you're not hitting a weak spot. That's kind of Cyte's whole thing, aka headshots, but I think they're just kind of renaming that to weak spot now because it can work on any enemy. Anyway, so that's his passive. It's pretty good. Nice to have. Definitely effective. But anyway, his first ability is this, Seek. It places down this thingy, which highlights the heads of any enemies in range of its cone. Do note that it is a cone and not a 360-degree thing. I thought that for a while, and I was confused as to why it was not actually tagging some enemies' heads. It's a cone, 75-degree angles. Thankfully, though, you can have 3 of them set up at the same time. So you can cover pretty wide areas. You can usually just like set them down, choke points and such. And because these are like pulses, it actually it tags any enemies it's hit, and they keep the weak point, the marking for the next 6, 7, 8 seconds, depending on your duration. So generally, if you make sure you're pointing these down the path of travel where enemies are going, they'll be pretty easy to stay marked. And yeah, as you can see here, it removes that third one when you place a third one. I mean, the fourth one, the last one. Anyway, you get it. The thing it actually does is, for one, it gives you a ton of punch through. And 2, it gives you a ton of weak point critical damage. I mean, not critical, it's just damage in general. Weak point damage, it just multiplies your weak point damage, which is quite good if you're trying to hit weak points a lot. And also, of course, wall hacks. You can see enemies through the walls. And I believe I just shot through 2 pillars. Yep, it gives you a ton of punch through. And also of note, this punch through scales with range, which is kind of weird, but it's pretty good. Also of note is that these things have, despite having a cone of range, their base range is absolutely enormous. They start at 45, I believe, 45 meters, which is quite large. That's usually the maximum you can get from maxing things out. So when you range max this shit, it gets up to 150 meters. It's pretty wild. That's pretty good. Let's move on to his second ability, Resupply. When you hold the button down, it brings up this ring, and you can select any element in the game, which is pretty nice. Well, any of the basic, elemental elements. And by default, it defaults to random. Your last selection, it will be random on loading a mission, but it will always, keep your last selection as the tap ability. And so, in case it was unclear, the tap and the hold are basically the same thing. It's just the hold lets you select the element you want ahead of time, and the tap will just do whichever one is last. Now, as you can see, you can get up to 6 of these resupply, deploy things, whatever, on the ground at once. However, the minimap will only show 4 for some reason, and okay, apparently now it's only showing 1. I don't know. It is a little bit finicky with the actually showing on the minimap thing. See, it's yeah. Now it's only showing 1 for some reason. Okay. I don't know what's going on with that, but you can get 6, so of note. Now, anyway, what does it do? Well, as you can tell, it's not doing anything right now because I'm in incarnate form. It does not work at all with incarnate form weapons. It does not work with arc guns at all, and it doesn't work with any guns that recharge, like the Fulmin or Pax charge weapons. Unfortunate. But what it is supposed to do, let me put my gun away here. You step over them, and you can see I got my ammo was changed to Toxin. That also refills your ammo, which is very nice. As you can see, no reload necessary. Basically, you don't have to reload on sight. Quite good, assuming you keep this skill. And how it acts is sort of like Toxic Lash or Zatz's Whisper. It adds an extra damage instance whenever you hit someone. So this should be added. Oh yeah, I gotta actually put the Toxin on the weapon. Oh, I'm still in incarnate. Sorry. All right, now that I have the Toxin on the weapon, it should proc and yeah, see, it procs because of multi-shot. We're getting a ton of Toxin procs. It's a forced proc with everyone, which is quite good. And you get an extra damage instance out of it, so it doesn't interrupt your what you're currently having. It works out quite well. So theoretically, you could use this just pick Toxin and just use it like a Toxin Lash, like the Kuba Sobek or something. I found that to not be very effective personally, but you do you, especially because this counts as one of a damage abilities. So if you're trying to put Roar on, you have to put it over as 2. A little unfortunate, but okay. that's pretty much all that is. It just, it resupplies your ammo, gives you a damage buff, works with your teammates. It's quite helpful. Unfortunately, it does not work on a bunch of things that I feel like it should work on, which is really unfortunate. So it's a little bit less valuable than I might have hoped, but it does work on your 4, so that's very worth noting. But we'll get to that in a second. His third is Evade here. It turns you invisible, ta-da, and in order to keep your invisibility up, you just kill people in their weak points. Every time you get a kill, you get another extra 3 seconds. This does have a cap. I don't actually even remember what it is. Something like 30 seconds, but generally if you're killing enough enemies, it just means you stay permanent invis the entire duration, This also has a 60-second cooldown. However, this cooldown starts the moment you cast it, which means if you've been in invisibility for 60 seconds or longer, you can just instantly recast it if it runs out. So that's actually pretty nice. It is his helmet ability, but it gets nerfed for helmet. They get capped to a duration of 25 seconds, so I'm pretty sure they have to eat the cooldown. Very sizable cooldown. See, as you can see, I'm down to like a 19-second cooldown here. That should be 60 if, you could see it counting down from the top, but since I've spent like 40 seconds in invis, it subtracted it from that, basically. So that's cool. The only other thing it does other than invis is it heals you whenever you kill an enemy. It might require weak spot kills. I can't even fucking remember. This fucking heals. I will say you can also, for that, you can use it to fuel Archon Vitality, I'm pretty sure. I didn't actually test it, but that's one thing you do. Also combat Avenger with, combat discipline with Avenger. But I don't think that's actually the best way of playing him, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know, depending on how much you hate or dislike that particular thing. Anyway, and now for his 4, it's Exalted Sniper, which is pretty dope. Exalted Sniper, right? You can do 3 different zoom levels, more zoom, more damage, like with all snipers. It also has a shot combo mechanic, like with all snipers. And what you definitely want to do is hit weak spots, because then it will ricochet off of enemies and deal a lot of damage. However, you might notice it's not dealing that much damage. That's because I want to get this shit up to do extra weak spot damage, and I want to get my Toxin, because this does apply Archon mods, and I have Archon continuity in, so this will apply Toxin and Corrosive. And once you get these going, they'll start dying pretty good. So it is a very powerful weapon, and in case you didn't understand what's going on here, it doesn't have AoE shots, but it does have ricochets. It can ricochet up to 4 times the amount of times it's not moddable, but the range at which it can ricochet is moddable. That's, of course, with your range stat. And also, I should note, it can ricochet between the same enemies, so if you have like 2 enemies next to each other, they can just ricochet between each other. So, generally speaking, quite good, especially when you combine it with his 1, which allows you to just snipe these guys through walls. However, this can be a little bit impractical, like long range, because like it's just hard to hit really long range enemies through walls shit, unless you're like a god gamer. For the most part, unless you use my special tech, which I think vastly improves Cyte, even though it's very strange. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What is else there to say about it? It has sniper mods, it does, of course, work with this too and everything. I don't know. If I remember something else, I'll use the text overlay. Anyway, builds! Let's get into builds. Okay, builds. First things first, let's check out the Archon shards. I really like my Tau Forge Amber Archon maximum energy filled on spawn shard. I will go to bat for this. I still think it's really good. It's a shard slot, which is less valuable than a mod slot, and like it's often more effective than like a Streamline or Energy Nexus or anything like that would be. So I think this is quite good. You get hundreds of energy straight up when you pair it with Flow, and or any other thing like Arcane Battery and a ton of armor straight off the bat, but usually Flow. In this case, definitely Flow. So hundreds of energy is good, especially when you're going to be spending a bunch of it right at the start to, put down your deployables and get your ammo out and your gun, all that shit. And then everything else is strength shards. Nothing really new there, but strength shards wind up being really good most of the time. And in this particular instance, it's actually pretty important. I'm trying to hit a strength threshold with my preferred build. So there are different ways of going about it, but just having a bunch of extra strength straight up on the build really, really helps for that. If you don't, you're going to have to make a few compromises. In fact, I'm already kind of making compromise, because if I put in another strength shard, it would be better, but I didn't bother. Anyway, yeah, those are the Archon shards, and I guess we'll get into the actual builds now. First things first is the actual Neutralizer build that just doesn't use any helmet abilities, hence neutral in caps. This is not a build I would honestly pay that much attention to, because I basically stopped building it once I tried the helmet ability and was like, okay, fuck this build. I don't want to fucking use this ever again in my entire life. But, this is a good starting point for you. Like, Vigilante Pursuit is kind of questionable. This is an exilus mod slot. Obviously, if you don't have Prime Surefooter, don't want to use it. That's where that goes. You could also use Cunning Drift. That also works pretty well. that goes for pretty much all builds. Those are like the 3 I would pick for that slot. Also, Worthy Camaraderie, kind of just a flavor pick here. I think this is probably going to be less damage than just using Corrosive Projection, even with Archon Continuity applying Corrosive. So it's probably not that great, but I mean, I don't know what the fucking math is. You know, like obviously this is gonna, if you're stacking your if you're stacking your passive, it's not gonna be nearly as good, because you know it seems to be additive to these. I'm assuming these are the same fucking thing. So it's probably not that great, but you could use enemy radar, corrosive projection, some other things. You could even use combat discipline, like I was mentioning earlier, if you use arcane adventure as well. But it's not really worth because his sniper rifle is currently sitting at 135% crit or something, so it doesn't even increase his crit that much with Avenger. You're definitely going to use crepuscular, assuming you have evade on the kit, which seems a pretty reasonable assumption for the most part. This is like sort of made for Cyte. Well, I mean, there's others that can use it too. Ivara and such can use this well, but this is an arcane that sort of just seems like an auto-include if you're using evade, because I mean, this is an unranked one because it's hard to rank it up. This new patch, I'm not spending tons of platinum. Anyway, as you can see, when it gets fully stacked and you know fully ranked, it gets up to 30% ability strength and crit multiplier. And yeah, fully ranked, not stacked, because you don't stack this. But yeah, that's quite a lot, you know, plus 30 strength and 3x extra crit multiplier is quite strong. And the other one I have here is Rage, which will just increase your primary weapon damage if you're shooting people with it. Well, I mean, if you're shooting people with anyone in the head, it'll increase your primary weapon, which is indeed what your Neutralizer is classified as. But honestly, I feel like this is overkill. Like I said, I was sort of building this out and then abandoned it more or less as I was playing it, because I would much rather put a max range Gloom on. This is the sauce, and guess what? It goes over fucking evade. It's very strange. Very strange build. I know it seems very bizarre. Like, who would remove the fucking invisibility skill? But like, it's that or remove my fucking wall hack that greatly increases my damage, or my ammo thing which greatly increases my damage. As the weapon becomes way more neutralized, I mean, like, neutralized, neutered without it. And if you want to actually use this weapon, it is pretty good, especially when paired with Gloom, then you're going to need to keep these two, honestly. I was sitting on the like helmet screen, I was like, damn, what do I remove? I really want Gloom on this build. And I was like, you know what? I think I can make a no-evade build work. And indeed, you can. If you have this high a range and you stack strength to the 272% threshold, which I will explain in a moment because it's not actually there, it's enemies just basically do not get anywhere near you. You're just shooting fish in a barrel from very far away, and it is kind of hilarious. Well, 42.4 meters to be specific. The only thing that gives this any sort of trouble is Eximus Overguard units, because they do not get slowed at all. They will just rush you down, and that's a problem. However, my solution for that is simple. Don't worry, I'll go back to the build in a second. It's simple dual toxocyst with secondary fortifier. You can pretend it's Modern Warfare 2, whip out the dual Raffias anytime you get rushed down. You know, it's very simple. Because of secondary fortifier, you will get a ton of overguard, which will keep you safe. Really only like the first Eximus enemy that rushes you is risky, because you might be like tunnel vision snipering and not have any fortifier from earlier ones. I have occasionally died doing that. It's like the only risk you have on this. And this isn't a dual tox build video, so I'm not really sure what you'd replace the Riven with. Normally, I would replace it with Seeker, because punch through is really good actually on this, but because it's Cyte and he gets punch through for free, I don't do that. Riven instead, creeping bolt, you know. So I don't know, but this is generally the build I would use for it, so just a note. Also, I didn't even mention, this is a really good weapon in general, like even if you don't want to use this for, because I mean, also get a Riven, because the disposition is great. Excuse me. But the reason it's really good is because it doesn't tell you here, but the Incarnon actually ricochets headshots. So you will get a ton of headshots with this weapon just by shooting enemies. It always aims for the head on its ricochet, so it's really good. You can basically just use this as like a sort of a mini neutralizer that doesn't even need nearly as much aiming. So I mean, even in like my neutralizer focused Gloom build, you can just literally stop using the neutralizer and just start popping people, because also resupply doesn't even work on that. So if you wanted to make a min-max build around that, you could even just remove resupply, because it doesn't work on Incarnate weapons. But anyway, let's talk about the actual like strength thing. I never got into that. Molt Vigor gives you 45% ability strength, and combined with Matter Eye, this is very important, Matter Eye Sling Strength gives you another 40%. Add those together, you get 85%. And 85% on top of 184% is 269%, which actually is 3 under the 272% threshold you want for a 95% slow, which actually is notable. You'd think that would be negligible, but you know, you go from like a 5% allowed speed to like 6%, so they're actually almost like 20% faster. But I mean, that's just like another archon shard, or you could stack a molt augmented or whatever here. Molt vigor is very important for that, I'd say, because yeah, the whole little combo I was just saying. In order to get your 85% strength, very simple. You go into operator mode, you press 2, you do 2 quick dashes, ta-da! I have 85% extra strength for the next ability cast, and another 40 for the next, well, I mean, 40% of that is for the next 20 seconds, and 45 is for the next ability strength cast. Next ability cast. You should also technically do this twice, like one for this, and then another cast, and then one for his Neutralizer, because it snapshots, both of them snapshot. But a lot of times I forget with his Neutralizer. It's more important to just get the Gloom going as well as it can. And trust me, it's a lot of fun. You'll be shooting fish in a barrel. It's really, really hilarious. Frankly, I don't want to play him as not a Gloomaxxer ever again. My initial attempt was a non-max range Gloom build, and instead I just use like health conversion, arcane blessing, in the hopes that I'll get enough health orbs to be a health tank, but it's not great. I much prefer the very long range. This makes it way easier to shoot people. They get fucking stuck basically into big crowds nowhere near you. It's very, very entertaining, and it's very effective. In fact, Cyte winds up being one of those frames where he winds up running out of life support pretty quickly, because you're just staying in one spot shooting people, and the like life support packs they drop are nowhere near you. It's pretty hilarious. The other slot here is very flex, I'd say. I wound up sticking with like molt efficiency, but there's like a ton of different things you could put here. Like I actually was thinking about using arcane consequence, because that'll just give you more mobility. You can use energize if you're having difficulty with energy economy, but I found that when you combine sharpshooter, the mod here, we'll get into the gun build in a second, it's actually very, it's not bad at all, and the molt efficiency helps a lot too, because that'll help with the drain. You don't have to place your one as much. There's a bunch of other options too. You could, of course, do crepuscular, like I was saying. You're actually invisible, but not here, because you're not invis. There's also rage, like I was saying earlier, this guy. There's a avenger, like I was saying. You could even use arcane impetus, actually, I was thinking. This is a new arcane. This one gives you additional efficiency and strength for every unique status effect. Doesn't work that great with Cyte, but I mean, he can use any status effect in the game. You could just keep cycling all your different shit, but that sounds like a huge pain in the ass. So, I mean, there weren't a lot of things that actually seemed useful here, so I basically just went with efficiency. There's a bunch of things you can do, though, like I was saying. Anyway, also important, I should note, is your companion. I don't have it on here right now, but what I would use is a reinforced bond sort of setup, because reinforced bond will help a lot with your shooting. Seismic bond can also help with your energy efficiency, although I find that this doesn't actually get active very often, because you literally kill enemies before your pet can touch them at all. Synth deconstruct for more energy, and yeah, you want to calculate a redirection reinforced bond for extra fire rate, because it's that or like slot in a fire rate on the weapon. Having no fire rate on the weapon is kind of cringe, but all you have to do is bring along a companion, you're good. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, tenacious bond for a little extra crit damage molt. So just get these two and you'll be great. This is like the pet build, I would say. So go with that, I would say. And then you could also use him as a not Neutralizer build. You could just use him as a weapon platform. That's a totally viable way of doing it. But because like he has, wall hack with super long range shit, and his resupply, like these are some good abilities. Like these are quite helpful, and you don't necessarily have to use 4. Like honestly, even with my Neutralizer build, like I was saying, you can just like shoot the dual tox instead, and it'll work about as well. It's just kind of more fun to use the Neutralizer, and it's still quite effective. And because resupply doesn't work at all, like, you could just make a build that removes that. Anyway, I've been over all that. Whatever. This one has catalyzing shields. I don't know. You could use rolling guard or whatever. Again, I kind of just stopped even trying with these builds, because this one's so much fun, so effective. Fuck it. All right. I think that about covers it. I mean, I should mention I'm using enemy radar just because, the gun does so much fucking damage. I was just like, well, it'll actually be easier for me to kill a bunch of enemies if I just know where they are on the minimap and just swivel to them and fuck them up. So I don't have to like rely on, searching around and using my one to see everything and hoping that it's tagging all the enemies. I don't know. It helps a lot more if you like already know where the enemies are and then use the one to tag them, Anyway, that's to taste though. I'm, again, sort of an enemy radar horde. Let's check out the Neutralizer build. First off, this is actually the wrong build if you're using my Gloom one because Spectral Serration now exists, and this is only to be used if you're using Evade, which is usually a safe bet, but actually with my weird build, it's not, so I take it off. And I would say, like, probably like 6 of these mods are pretty auto-include. You know, pick the correct Serration, and then Galvanized Chamber, you get your crit mods, cryo rounds, and target acquired. Don't forget that exists. This is a mod, and it is quite good. Those are basically all auto-includes if you ask me, and honestly I think Sharpshooter probably is too. This just helps so much with your energy economy, and the weapon already is doing so much damage that, like, I think this is really, really good. So don't forget your sniper mods. So I would say, like, this is probably the flex slot. I like Magnetic Capacity, does a little bit more damage, and, like, adds to your magazine, goes from 12 to 17, which doesn't really matter, because you can just press 2 to instantly reload at any time. So there's other options, like you can do Hunter Munitions. I actually liked, what is it, Stabilizer? This actually, you know, reduces recoil, makes it easier to just shoot a bunch. I don't know, there's a bunch of other things. I can't remember at this moment. I'll put it as an overlay. But yeah, basically, it's basically just between, remember your Spectral Serration if you're using Invis, and otherwise, you know, get these mods and one flex slot of your choice. Oh, I should also note that, oops, typo. If you want to use galvanized mods, you cannot use galvanized scope, unfortunately. I didn't double check to see if that's a thing you can use normally, but it seems like it was just deliberately excluded, so otherwise that would probably be it. Also, oh yeah, Bane mod, definitely good for that flex slot, you know, things like that. I tried heavy caliber, it's just hilarious. It does indeed make you inaccurate, so don't do that. And of course, Shred is not very useful because he gets a ton of punch through. Of course, oh yeah, the other main mod is Vial Acceleration, probably a fire rate here. Because if you happen to not have a companion that can give you fire rate, you're going to want that. But, you know, I just have a companion that gives me fire rate, so it doesn't seem worth a mod slot to me. Anyway, yeah, I guess I should re-highlight the dual toxocyst, just because dual toxocyst is really good. You could also use a Grimoire for extra ability strength, but I feel like you kind of need a backup weapon from your sniper, or just a good weapon in general. This is the... Normally I like to use an encumber build, actually, but... Fortifier is really good. It does a ton of damage anyway, so you're good. I will say, yeah, this is basically Cyte's, like, baby weapon. Like, I haven't tried his other, like, his main weapons because I haven't made them yet, but I'm pretty sure, like, when you combine with his one, like, this is kind of the way to go. It does a ton... Well, it is kind of anti-synergy because it doesn't work with his 2 resupply at all, which is pretty awkward, but... And then the primary is whatever, and I just use Kratos for extra speed. Okay, I think that's about it, actually. I think I've covered everything there. Let me think. I mean, whatever, you know me, I'll just fucking overlay text if I forgot anything. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into the actual, the actual demo in SP Circulus. And trust me, it's gonna be a fun one. Yeah, you're gonna enjoy. So, Alonzi. Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. Oh, you have to start with doing this, and then one of these. You have to make sure to use 2 instead of 1, because otherwise it'll take up all your energy, because of Matter Eye. Hilarious. Anyway, let's just get our thing charged real quick, and begin this mission. Easy. Alrighty, and then we're gonna get this guy out. We're gonna pop our 4. We're gonna zoom in. I'm gonna throw down some 1s. And now let's start popping heads. Let's get a little closer so they slow the fuck down. There we go. Now you can get a little extra range and it'll grease the wheels here significantly, but I think 265 is pretty good. What do you think? This is very fun. I don't know. Cyte's a lot of fun. I don't know. I find this very entertaining. Unfortunately, yeah, like I was saying, you do have to like actually go out there occasionally just to get the health packs. I mean, life support. And yeah, that was Exilus, I believe, because he was actually running at me through my slow. In fact, if you want to be a little safe, you can take out the arc gun a little early so that you don't get snuck up on. And then all you really gotta do is, you know, chill. I mean, yeah, dual toxocyst works from here too, as you can see. Like I was saying, you literally don't even need to use your 4, it's just kind of more fun. You can be a fucking gamer. Get some flick shots. Let's see, where we got some more people over here. Yep, they're all dead. Cool. Oh, looks like we got our first Exilus rushdown. Cool, they're dead. Anyway, I can actually do that from behind the wall too. I don't even have to pop my head up. So this is cool. Like, I'm telling you, if you don't have a max range, you know, min-max Gloom... Oh, this is another Exilus, looks like. then this isn't gonna work nearly as well. This is not this shooting fish in a barrel thing only really works if you have big Gloom. This is what I'm saying. Like, once I found this, I was like, holy shit, this is the fucking sauce. Now we're talking. Because otherwise, you wind up just getting rushed down real hard. Like, the enemies, you know, like, what am I gonna do? Be like a pro sniper up close? Like, what the fuck? I might as well just switch to the Tox, you know? Any other weapon. Feels wrong. But when we're doing it like this, it works. And yeah, as you can see, my life support's starting to run out. Yeah, look at all this life support. See what I'm saying? Yeah, you do have to occasionally, like, go out there. But, yeah, this is, I mean, I guess it can get a little old of it, but once you're doing it at the start, I don't know. I find this very fun. It's definitely novel gameplay. But, yeah, it's the whole fucking thing. Oh yeah. Sorry, I pressed 2 instead of 1. Oops. I was like, where's my guy? There we go. And, yep. The funny thing is, if you ever, on this particular map, becomes really hard to see their fucking heads if there's that, like, blue Tesh, I mean, the gray Teshin thing, that, you know, that gives you extra strength and shit. Let's see, yeah, see, as you can see, like, this is why I pick enemy radar, because, they're not really posing a threat, and my damage is enough. Damn it! Fucking A. Didn't count as a... you just shoot him a bunch. This is very easy, as you can see, you know? My overguard handles these guys. You just whip out the Raffias, let them know who's boss. Easy game. Oh. And, I think I have Stabilizer on this build currently, so that's why it's not actually kicking too much, and I can do a bunch of follow-up shots like that. Oh. Who's here? Where is he? There he is. Oh, simple as that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Fucking, how did I... There we go. You can be a fucking gamer. I mean, like, presumably you could do this without Gloom if you were a pro. But there's a reason, you know, I don't play Counter-Strike, alright? So, I do not have good aim. I do not possess particularly... I mean, at least I'm not confident in it. And, it bears out in practice, trust me. Fucking A. The only... Yeah, this is a little bit annoying when you have to refresh it. But the, another good thing about the dual Tox is that it has quite a lot of ammo in its incarnate form, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And then get back to popping heads. Yeah, sometimes the exilus do kind of rush you down, but a lot of times they won't rush you down if you're shooting well enough, because you'll literally just hit them in the ricochets of the other guys you're hitting. Easy. If you're wondering, the reason I'm like picking Toxin every time is because the Archon continuity mod, and because I have primed cryo and just cold. I'm already getting Archon flow without needing anything from that. It's cold damage, you don't need procs or whatever. I should probably pick up some life support, huh? And place down some of these. Maybe one of these. There we go. Ah, motherfucker. Oh, I didn't... yeah, I shot him after I removed his overguard, didn't I? Oh, well. Just shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, yeah, what else is there to say? This is... I mean, I don't need my invisibility, do I? You know? Seems like I don't need... Like, it would be helpful for the exilus rushdowns here, but not necessary. And also, yeah, I mean, ultimately, you should probably, like, if you wanted to not use Neutralizer, you could, just take off Resupply, because dual Tox doesn't actually interact with Resupply at all, like I was saying earlier, so that would be another way of doing this. And, sorry if you wanted me to snipe those guys, but, oh, Jesus Christ, I have a lot of these fucking guys. But, it's hard to do that, because they're overguard and they don't get slowed. Alright, where's Torment? There he is. Boop! Bye, Torment. See ya! See, it's a strong fucking weapon, you know, I don't feel like I have to damage max it too much. You can get your flicks. It's really fun if you like flicking too, you know? Oh, that's fucking not it. Alright, let's get out of here. I'm just having too much fun. You know what I'm saying? This shit's too much fun. Pop, pop! Pop, pop! Alright. Oh, yeah, okay, it's this way. This missions have been... This patch has been fucking me with the waypoint exits. They have not been getting summoned for me. Alright, I'll leave. It's just fun, man. What did I tell you? I was hoping Cyte would be a lot of fun, and at first I was like, oh man, he's not... See, I told you, the fucking extraction waypoint is gone. It fucking disappeared, man. This fucking patch, dude. I just have to hope it's there. Alright, anyway. What was I saying? Whatever. I forgot what I was saying, because now I'm mad the extraction thing's gone. And I probably am not even going to be able to find extraction. Yeah, yeah. Good times, man. Well-developed game, DE. It's almost like this happens literally like almost every time I play now. And yeah, and as you probably noticed, my energy economy was doing A-okay thanks to Sharpshooter. And I originally had Energize in that slot, but then I decided, you know, this energy economy is good enough. Alright, which way? Which way do you think it is, fam? Should really just quit, but I want my steel essence, bro. This is bullshit. This is nope, not here. Okay, one more spot, and then if it's not this way, I give up. See what I'm saying? Like, god damn it, do you know how important the extraction marker is? Like, how does this should be a fucking, yeah, fuck this stupid game. Okay, cool. That's the video, I guess. Like and subscribe if you liked it. Look at this shit, man. I'm sorry, he's fun. What can I say? Alright. That's it, fam. I'll catch you on the flip side. And yeah, you know, join the Discord if you want, I guess. Whatever. Peace!